afternoon. It's just a little update video really, just messing around in the Maestro. I hadn't actually checked if anything worked, the radio and stuff like that. It just said code on the front. I've stuck the code in, we're all good. It's got a cassette player in, and somebody had left 2 tapes in. The best of Dire Straits, the best of the Eagles and the best of the Cars. Not terrible, but not brilliant. Strangely annoying, it's a 4-speaker system, and the rear speakers aren't working. There's not even any wires going to them, so I've got to investigate why they've been yanked off and where they're hiding. Yeah, so I'll do that. Alright, with the little carpet panel off, you can see the speaker there hasn't got the wires connected into the rat's nest of wiring here. These 2 are hanging there, but they're not going to be speaker wires. It would be stupid for them to come out the carpet. They're not long enough. Don't know what they're for. But what I have noticed, as I've just lifted the carpet up down here, that someone's put a piece of carpet down here, obviously to stop the tools rattling. There's just 2 random wires there. They look long enough that they could be speaker wires. So it's the same the other side, crazily pulling that back. And they're just dangling there. It's almost as if somebody used to sit in the back and didn't want the speakers on, or you know, didn't know how a fader worked. I imagine if I connect them up, we'll have 4 speakers. I'll have a fix like this. The problem of why they've been disconnected may be the fact that the cones are actually gone to dust. They still work, but clearly they fart and pop a bit maybe. I can't understand why someone wouldn't spend 20 quid on a set of speakers. Never mind. So that's a bit of a weird one. Clearly someone's disconnected them back speakers on purpose. You'd have thought it was because they were damaged, but I can't see the point of that. They work perfectly. Obviously, if you turn it up too loud, I guess they're going to pop and fart, but for just filling the back area with a bit of sound, I can't make them fart, so I don't know. Strange one, that. So I've connected them back up. I've got 4 working speakers. It's plenty good enough for me. It's just a work car, tatting about car. Yeah, weird. Maybe I'll get some new speakers, but certainly not soon. I suppose I should tell you about the farce with the wheels yesterday. I didn't film any of this because I wasn't planning on really filming Maestro stuff as such. It's although it's a classic car, it's still sort of just going to be my daily driver really. But I don't know. So if there's anything interesting, or if I'm bored, I tend to film a bit. But yesterday, it's like today, it was just too hot and I couldn't be bothered filming stuff. But if you remember the first video when I had a look around it, I noticed that the tyres were different sizes. It had got wider on one axle, and I think 2 1.5s and 1.95s or something like that, 2.05s I think. Anyway, but the guy who owned the car had put the wider ones on the front. I texted him, why have you done that? And he said, well, when they're on an MG, the wider ones are on the back because they're the driving wheels, so I did it that way. Logic in that, I suppose, but on standard wheels this would drive on 1.75s all round, so I don't think it'd make any difference. It just looks stupid with a wider tyre on the front. So I thought yesterday I'll swap them round. So jacked it up, both front and rear on one side, got them both off, swapped the front one to the back, tightened up all okay, swapped the back one to the front, tightening up, and then put the locking wheel nut on, and all of a sudden felt zero resistance. You know what's coming. Pulls it off and has a look, and the lug that was on the locking wheel nut was not on the locking wheel nut anymore. So I've got one 195 on the front, one 205 on the front, one 195 on the back, one 205 on the back, and a locking wheel nut that was broken off, so I'm flapping. Anyway, thought, wow, what's the worst that can happen? the wheels are coming off anyway, so I thought I'll get a bigger socket. So I smacked a bigger socket on the locking wheel nuts on all four, managed to get them off, and luckily I'd got a set of locking wheel nuts off a Land Rover that are the same thread, so at least it's got 4 wheel nuts on now. So what I thought I'd then do is, well, I'll put the steel wheels back on and then go and get some new tyres, because I don't like these alloys at all. But the wheel nuts are alloy specific. I'll stick a little very short video at the end of this showing you that when I tightened them up on a steel wheel, the little collars were rattling round. So I've had to order some new wheel nuts, so they should be coming today. Afternoon, just a bit of an update on where we're at with the Maestro. Just give it a really good clean outside, waxed it, polished it. It's back on the original steel wheels now. Hopefully I've sold the alloys and it's going for new tyres on Monday, which is when I can tax it and actually get to use it. Still going to have a really deep clean inside, but I need to get some more cleaning stuff for that. I'll give it a quick lick over, but it's quite grimy. I'm going to do a walk-through video, just show you the outside and how we're going with it. Got a couple of little bits and bobs to do on it. Got a new oil filler cap because it's got the wrong one fitted at the minute. It's got one off a petrol one, I think, with a bolt stuck in where it should vent. The diesel cap's slightly different. I'll show you that when I fit it. So yeah, we're getting there with it. Looking forward to getting out and driving it, see how she goes on the road, and there we go. Yeah, this is what I was on about with the oil filler cap. You can see that this one will have a pipe going off it somewhere for a petrol version and vent to somewhere else, and if you pull it off, there's no way of the gases getting out. Whereas a diesel one, if you see them 2 little holes there, that just vents to atmosphere. And there we go, that was that. I'll just move it off the drive and do a bit of a walk round. As I say, I've just cleaned it. This is a start from cold, but it's not cold because it's obviously a hot day. But what I mean by that is the car hasn't been started for 2 or 3 days, so. Bloody dire straits. Okay, so here we go. It's a December 92 Maestro Clubman turbo diesel, 96,000 miles, 4 previous owners, the first 2 being a father and son that had it for 26 years, the third only a few months, and the 4th just under a year. That's the guy I bought it off. It's now back on the original steel wheels. Took the alloys off, hopefully sold them. It's going for new tyres on Monday. Exterior is pretty good. It's had a lot of paint and repairs, but it looks presentable. The interior needs a good clean. A few little rust spots that need attention sooner rather than later. There's a bit of damage to the front corner of the bonnet there, and then you can see at the front of the wing there, the rust. It's the same in a few little, like, bottom of the doors and stuff like that. Interior is all good, no tears and stuff. It just needs a good clean, as I say. The headlining needs a replacement. It's obviously had a lot of paint. You can see that there's a few runs and stuff. It's not the best paint job, and then there's a line there where it's been masked off, not very well. It's not exactly the best repair job. Bottom of the doors look a bit bodgy, to be honest, and then the front corners of the doors haven't actually been done. Same as the front driver's door. They seem to have cleaned them for halfway along and then left the front. And then the passenger side, same sort of thing, a lot of repairs. Got to keep on top of it, I think. You know, no idea the quality of the repairs, but we'll see. So there is one interesting thing with this car. The guy that had it new bought it on a company purchase scheme. He actually worked for Rover at Cowley, and by the time that these were made, late 92, all the Clubmans were offered with a factory fitted sunroof. He actually specified what they call a police bodied car, which is no sunroof, because he was a very tall man and the sunroof sort of encroaches into the space if you've got a factory job. He actually had it with no sunroof and then had the dealer fit like a Webasto style afterwards. So I suppose it's quite a rare example that it never actually had a factory fitted sunroof. Here's the heart of the beast, so to speak, the 1994cc Perkins 2 litre turbo diesel. I think they're only about 80 brake off the top of my memory, but I imagine it'll shift quite well. I think the turbos are pretty all or nothing on these. From vaguely remember driving one years ago, fitted to a Land Rover. So years ago we used to rip these out and put them in Land Rovers when these cars were worth nothing. But hopefully this one will survive for a lot longer than any of the older ones. Yeah, so as I say, with the interior, it's all good, no tears and missing parts. It's just the plastic's a bit grimy here and there. You can see on the edges it needs a good clean off. Headlining needs replacing. I've just bulldog clipped up the edges for now, just to keep it tight, and just put some little cardboard tabs in there to keep that on. Headrests are off a higher spec model. Cloth trim doesn't match, but I guess they're kind of more comfortable than the plastic hoops. There you go then, that's your little update on what's happening with the Maestro. Hopefully tomorrow I can get on with doing some work on the Allegro. I've got all the parts I need now to change the thermostat housing where it's leaking, so do that. And I'm just waiting for parts for the ignition side before I can get it over to Josh and get the carb done. So yeah, I'll catch you on another one later.